Okay, hello, CUNA. I'm going to be going over May 7th and May 14th's Ada County Commissioners Open Business Meetings. And just before I go through each meeting, I like to double check their agenda to see if there's anything major going on in there that are of particular interest. Oh, SQL. It looks like some kind of database management. That's a public hearing, so sometimes let's first check to see if there's any nays. I oppose, nay. Oh, here we go.
Opposed?
Nay.
Oh, we got one. Finally we get it's 1 in 100. So let's have this discussion here. And as always, it's
Okay.
likely
Any questions or discussions?
Commissioner Ryan Davidson.
Hearing none, I'll accept a motion.
I move to table the final ranking and 11th.
Second.
Commissioners, I'm not familiar with this sole source, but looking at it, it looks like it's for computer-aided dispatch with Central Square, and even Central Square, I think it's going to be proprietary to be able to work on their system.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept the motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2979 is listed on the agenda.
I second motion.
Okay, you heard the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have some bids open, looks like.
We do, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, under the new business, we have two openings. The first of which is RFP 24034, the Ada County Fire Alarm Testing, Inspection, and Maintenance, and Evan has those queued up for us. If you're ready for us to open.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what that nay was for. That was at 36. Let's see where I can find that here. So that's something to do with pizza.
Deny the license transfer for Rizzoni's Pizza as identified on the agenda.
Romy Pizza. Wow, there's a lot of let's find Romy. I cannot find Romy. Maybe it's spelled a differently. Pizza. Ruzzoni Pizza.
Not that the chair.
You are on the record.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Whoops.
the facts are the same. He's going to be that's fine, but that still doesn't quite meet the change because the code really does say if you have Commissioner, there's a number of options for having it in their home.
It is not. So I have one 7 almost.
Oh. This is what is going on here? Okay, here we go.
Motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you, Bob. Yes, Commissioners. Okay, next up, we have licenses. There's a number of new ones and renewals, and I think there's one catering permit. I'll accept the motion.
I move to approve and ratify the catering permit signed by Commissioner Beck on April 30th, 2024 as listed on the agenda, and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I'll second that.
Okay, you heard the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Okay, now we have some more catering permits, a couple of new licenses. Any question or discussion on any of the items before us?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would you like to take up the negative assessment first or deal with the other ones and then come back to that?
No, let's pick up the first one in the order.
I don't think Heather Luther is here. But
Chairman, Commissioners, we've got Bonnie Oberlin representing the Court's Office as well as Spencer on the
Spencer,
board. Thanks, so we speak to the negative assessment.
Yeah, well, let's hear with Bonnie and then Spencer can talk. Go ahead.
I'm actually going to defer to Spencer. It's their recommendation from the sheriff's office.
All right,
And I'll let him speak first.
All right, go ahead, Spencer.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, that's random. So he mentioned Heather Luther because she works. She's also running for commissioner against Tom Daly,
Chairman, Commissioners,
who's sitting on the right side on this side.
as you know, pursuant to Ada County Code, the Sheriff's Office conducts an assessment on all applicants for liquor licenses. We obviously don't approve or deny the licenses. That's up to the board. But we make positive or negative recommendations in accordance with the qualifications found also in Ada County Code. One of those qualifications is that the owner or applicant must be able to possess alcohol, or it's actually written in the negative that if they are not able to possess alcohol, transport alcohol, then they're to be denied. That code or ordinance, that is, actually tells us that if within the last 3 years immediately preceding the application, if they've been barred through some sort of judgment or conviction, then they're to be at least flagged or denied, or at least it's to be brought up to the board's attention. The owner of Rizzoni's Pizza, Mr. Nicholas Brady, was sentenced on February 1st, 2024 for driving under the influence. Part of that sentence was an unsupervised probation with a term that he's not to possess alcohol. And we've attached the terms of probation to our letter that we sent to the board. As I stated, Ada County Ordinance 4-3-7, subsection 4, states any applicant who, within 3 years immediately preceding the date filing of the application, has been convicted for a violation of any law or regulation in the state of Idaho regulating possession of alcohol or intoxicating liquors. As I stated in my letter also, it is technically the restaurant or the LLC that's going to be owning liquor. I spoke with a number of probation officers where even if this was supervised probation, they actually would not have flagged this and not have filed a probation violation or anything along those terms. But it is one of the terms that we are asked to assess and bring to the board's attention pursuant to Ada County Code. And that is why we wrote the letter and have wrote the assessment. I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions for Officer Spencer?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So Spencer, how many years on probation was he required to do? Is it 3 years?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, the term of probation is, I believe, 1 year of unsupervised probation. So it will go through, its unsupervised probation expires 1/31/2025.
Okay. And as part of the probation, he's not allowed to possess alcohol, but according to the probation department, it doesn't include if he's at a restaurant that serves it that he owns.
That is correct, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay. Any other questions of Deputy Spencer?
You have the applicant in line as well.
I'm aware of that. Thank you. Okay, Nick, are you online? Mr. Brady?
I am on the line, yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like to speak to the issue?
Yes, well, thank you for allowing me to attend the meeting today. As Spencer mentioned, I am on probation as supervised. And of course, made a bad decision. Last November, decided to drive when I should not have been. I've been sober these last almost 6 months now, and it's certainly a mistake. And moving forward from it, and I just appreciate your consideration of my application for my restaurant here in Meridian.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Is this your first DUI?
It is not. So I had one 7, almost 8 years ago, but this is my second.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do you have anyone else at the restaurant or partners or anything like that they could have the license under their name?
Sir, I mean, there would definitely be a plan, a plan B, of course, if my application is not able to go through. But as of right now, of course, me being the owner and manager, of course, that's why the application is in my name, to be able to oversee everything.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you. Okay. So we've heard.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've heard from Deputy Spencer, and we've heard from the applicant. What kind of discussion are we going to have now, or is there a motion in order?
Well, Mr. Chair, we'll just throw back to Spencer again. So maybe you can explain under our ordinance, what level of discretion in this kind of situation are we allowed under the ordinance?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, you have you make the ultimate decision. So the board has the ability to make any decision. They can ignore or, I guess, look to the qualifications. But it does say in 4-3-7, no license shall be issued. However, and then lists the qualifications, one of them being the one that we have notated. But the board does have quite a bit of discretion with those decisions and whether they would like to make a decision to ignore that, or if they don't believe number 4 is met in this circumstance, where you might say the 4th qualification is for somebody who's maybe had a liquor license removed or suspended or revoked, opposed to somebody who's not couldn't personally own or possess liquor or alcohol, but the LLC that they own or a business that they work out may be able to.
And could you go over again what your communication was with the probation parole office?
I reached out to our probation and parole, so Ada County probation and parole, misdemeanor probation, and asked, had this been a supervised probation, would this have been a different decision? Or if you found out you've been approved, this person's on supervised probation, they're not allowed to possess alcohol, would you write this as a violation? And they said, no, they would not. I even reached out to Boise City prosecutor or city attorney's office, who was the prosecuting agency in this case, to ask if they would file a probation violation on this case. And they also said, no, they would not.
Okay. Any other questions?
So that's in supervised or unsupervised probation?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, this is unsupervised. So if there were to be a violation in this case, it would be a determination of Boise City and the prosecutor on that case. That prosecutor indicated that they're not going to be filing if the board approves, they're not going to be filing a probation violation on this. And that was that went along and was the same as our probation office. Had this been, which it is once again, this situation is not, but had this been supervised probation, our probation officer said they would not file a probation violation for this. As it is, this isn't somebody having it in their home or possessing it for in that terms. This is somebody who works at a facility that also happens to serve alcohol.
Okay. Any other questions?
To the applicant, so in answer to Commissioner Davidson's question, is there another option for the business as opposed to your application that would still allow the business to function?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, there's a number of options that they could go through that would, place a few rungs in the ladder in between the owner and who's actually possessing it. But I will note that the code doesn't really make a distinction, or the ordinance doesn't really make a distinction on if the person is an owner or partner of the business, then these qualifications, they should be meeting these qualifications. There's even really one of the employees should be meeting all these qualifications as well. So yes, there could be some levels of distance put in between, but it'd be a little bit of a semantic change because the code really does say if you are one of the owners, partners in the facility, then this is one we'd be flagging this regardless. So if they said, okay, well, the manager of the bar is the only person that's going to be in charge of the alcohol, that's fine, but that still doesn't quite meet the ordinance as it's written.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion for discussion?
Well, I'll kick it off. I think I'm going to move to approve this, and my reasons are he's on a very low level of probation. The probation officer does not have a problem with this individual owning a restaurant that serves beer and wine. And of course, we should point out this is not a liquor license; this is a beer and wine license that we're dealing with. And I think, obviously we could throw some stumbling blocks in the way, and he could find a way around it with maybe somebody else doing the application. But I mean, at the end of the day, the facts are the same. He's going to be at a restaurant and that serves alcohol. So to me, I don't really necessarily see the value in trying to get him to have somebody else file it because the results will be the same. So based on that, and I know that it's tough to run a restaurant without beer and wine in a lot of cases, I'm going to lean towards supporting the application.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'm inclined to not approve it based on the law, the application of the law. So that's my position is I think we should apply the law. And I know it's going to be difficult, but after a time, they can come back and apply.
Well, I can apply immediately if he has another partner out there that can do it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I kind of tend to agree with that the law is clear, or it's our ordinance, it's the law, and it is clear. And if there were not another avenue, I might take a look at it. There is another avenue that Mr. Brady can make application. So is there a motion?
So I would move to deny the license transfer for the Rizzoni's Pizza identified on the agenda, and authorize the chair to sign documents on behalf of the board. Based on the discussion that there is another option, the business can still stay open and function.
Oh, yes, and I guess, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion and a second, and I would agree, and I think we should have that discussion. We don't want Mr. Brady to have to shut down his business, but if he has another option and he can apply with one of his employees or something, I think that'd be a better solution. Then we would stick to our ordinance. So you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries.
Yeah, that one is just that law is just a bizarre, very bizarre law. It's almost nonsensical. So I guess this is kind of like where you have like that jury nullification. Yes, it is in the law, but if you have discretion and the law is unjust or just makes no sense, I guess different philosophies on that. All right, let's see if there's anything
Thank you.
else. That was like the only nay. That's what you have. Yeah. I mean, like I guess I don't know if like judges have that. I mean, if it's within their power, they're not necessarily held by state law. Like somebody could sue them that. I don't know. I guess I would need to look at that ordinance specifically, but it's just like unnecessary. It just doesn't make much sense from what I listened to that. Yeah, even it's like unnecessary bureaucratic red tape for what reason. That law maybe needs to have an exemption, and if it's not in there, so be it. But let's see if there's anything else.
All right, moving on.
Authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the
I second the motion.
You heard the motion.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it in here. Everything else looks to be there were no nays. Just double check all the motions, see if there's any. Yeah, usually they all have it.
Mr. Chairman, just as a Bob's here, he can comment if he wants, but this is an example of how it's well managed so that we can actually, it pays for itself, I guess. My point is making here that this isn't taxpayers' money because of how it's managed and these
He's talking about
Interim
the
events at
expo.
Expo Idaho. I'll accept. Discussion for issues with any of the 10 agreements that's on the agenda.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We also want to talk about the modeling for the Hubbard Reservoir Aquifer Recovery Project.
Yes, I can speak to that.
Zach can speak to that.
I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
So as you know, this project delivers water into our Hubbard Reservoir, and so this project was presented, and we presented at the Water Summit also this project to study aquifer recharge out of Hubbard Reservoir. So we've installed monitoring wells on site, and this contract is to hire a modeler engineer to model the groundwater flow in conjunction with our monitoring wells.
I think with monitoring wells.
100 to 110 feet.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I got one for Steve O'Mara for agreement for dark trace detection and response email filtering software between Ada County and Insight Public Sector. So I'm curious, what's dark trace detection?
Morning, Mr. Chair. Mr. Davidson, Dark Trace.
Okay, well, I think that was kind of like the main thing on this issue because this is going longer. I'll do the May 14th hearing separately. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.